Lakin Hope Riley, born on January 10, 2002, in Marietta, Georgia, was a bright and dedicated young woman with a passion for health care and athletics. She was the daughter of Jason Riley and Allison Phillips and grew up with her three siblings in a loving household. Her early years were marked by her commitment to fitness, as she actively participated in her high school's cross-country team. A graduate of River Ridge High School in Woodstock, Georgia, in 2020, Lakin's athletic pursuits highlighted her discipline and perseverance. After high school, Lakin pursued higher education at the University of Georgia before transferring to Augusta University to specialize in nursing. Enrolled in the College of Nursing in Athens, she aimed to turn her passion for healthcare into a meaningful career. Her vibrant personality, coupled with her dedication to her studies, made her a cherished member of her academic and social circles. Tragically, on February 22, 2024, Lakin's promising life came to an abrupt end. During a routine run near the university campus, Lakin was attacked on a trail and never returned. Her death sent shockwaves through the Augusta University community and beyond, drawing significant media attention. The investigation into Lakin's death was swift. Detectives relied on surveillance footage to identify and arrest the perpetrator. The case's rapid developments ensured justice was pursued, but the loss of such a young, vibrant individual left a void that could never be filled. Lakin's tragic story reached the highest levels of national awareness. President Joe Biden addressed the incident publicly, though his remarks later necessitated an apology due to their controversial nature. The case underscored broader concerns about safety and violence, prompting conversations about the need for vigilance and preventive measures within communities. Lakin Riley's life and untimely death serve as a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment. Her aspirations and contributions to her community continue to inspire those who knew her. Lakin's journey into a promising nursing career began in August 2023, when she received her honorary white coat. This significant milestone symbolized her dedication to humanism and compassion in healthcare. Friends and family cherished her as a beloved daughter and sister, with a bright future ahead. But tragically, all of her dreams and plans were shattered in an unthinkable turn of events. On the morning of her death at 8:55 a.m., Lakin texted her mother, Allison, "Good morning. About to go for a run if you are free to talk." A doorbell camera captured the moment she left the house. Lakin, who lived with other female students in a rented house near the university, was an avid runner. Morning jogging was a cherished part of her daily routine. At 9:24 a.m., Allison read the message and called her daughter, but received no answer. She initially assumed Lakin was busy running. 14 minutes later, Allison texted, "Call me when you can." As time passed, Allison's concern grew when subsequent calls and messages went unanswered. At 9:58 a.m., she texted again, "You're making me nervous, not answering when you're out running. Are you okay?" By now, Lakin's sister and stepfather also tried to reach her, but to no avail. Hours passed, and at 11:47 a.m., Allison sent another text. "Please call me. I'm worried sick about you." Something was clearly wrong. Lakin was known to always keep in touch with her family, and her routine run wouldn't have lasted more than 3 hours. At 12:05 p.m., the police were informed of Lakin's disappearance. Roughly half an hour later, her lifeless body was discovered in a wooded area near a lake, close to her jogging route. By then, her mother and sister had arrived at the scene. The moment Allison received the devastating news was captured on camera, marking the darkest moment of her life. An autopsy revealed that Lakin Riley had died from the combined effects of blunt force head trauma and asphyxia. She had sustained severe injuries, including multiple blunt force trauma to the head. The heartbreaking loss of Lakin has left her family and friends devastated, robbing the world of a compassionate soul who had so much more to give. Her tragic death serves as a grim reminder of the fragility of life and the unexpected horrors that can shatter even the brightest futures. The investigation into the disappearance of Lakin Riley was swiftly reclassified, as a homicide investigation. To uncover the truth behind her tragic fate, police turned to surveillance cameras and digital evidence. On the morning of her death, December 2023, Lakin texted her mother at 8:55 a.m. A doorbell camera captured her leaving the house shortly after. At 9:05 a.m., another security camera recorded Lakin running with her phone in her left hand, heading towards a wooded trail where her body was later found. She vanished from the camera's view at 9:06 a.m. Data from her smartwatch revealed that her heart stopped at 9:28 a.m., indicating she died 22 minutes after being captured on camera. Crucially, Lakin made a 911 call 5 minutes after disappearing from the camera's view. The call was abruptly cut off before the dispatcher could respond. Following protocol, the dispatcher called Lakin's number back twice, but there was no answer. The chilling details added urgency to the investigation. Police combed the area around the trail, where Lakin's body was discovered. Witnesses reported seeing a suspicious man, later identified on surveillance footage. In the video, the suspect was seen discarding his jacket 15 minutes after Lakin's estimated time of death. Forensic analysis provided critical leads. DNA collected from under Lakin's fingernails indicated she fought back desperately. Investigators also examined items near her body for trace evidence linking the suspect to the crime. The man in the footage was identified as 26-year-old Jose Ibarra from Venezuela. Records showed that Ibarra had entered the United States illegally in September 2022, crossing the southern border near El Paso, Texas. After being paroled and released for further processing, he stayed at a migrant shelter before moving across the country. Ibarra's criminal history raised significant questions about missed opportunities to prevent Lakin's murder. In September 2023, he was arrested in New York City for child endangerment and a motor vehicle license violation after allegedly carrying a child on his moped without a helmet. Despite the arrest, New York officials released him before a detainer could be issued. Ibarra then moved to Georgia to live with his brother, Diego Ibarra. Diego, 29, was revealed to have ties to a dangerous Venezuelan gang. Court documents describe the gang as being involved in violent crimes, including phone robberies and confrontations with law enforcement. Diego himself was arrested for using a fake green card to secure a job at the University of Georgia. His tattoos, such as a 5-point crown and 5-point stars, along with social media photos showing him posing with firearms, highlighted his gang affiliations. Jose Ibarra's presence near the University of Georgia campus raised alarms. Witnesses reported seeing him in student areas. Before Lakin's attack, he had been arrested for shoplifting at a local Walmart, but was released pending trial. A warrant for his arrest was issued in December 2023 after he failed to appear in court for the theft case. However, authorities did not act on the warrant, a failure that might have averted the tragedy. Investigators pieced together Ibarra's movements using cell phone data and other digital footprints, which placed him near the scene of Lakin's death. There was no known connection between Ibarra and Lakin, and the crime appeared to be a random act of violence. This was a crime of opportunity where he saw an individual and bad things happen, University of Georgia Police Chief Jeff Clark stated during a press conference. The tragic case of Lakin Riley underscored systemic failures and the devastating consequences of missed opportunities in law enforcement and immigration control. The investigation's findings painted a chilling picture of a young life cut short by senseless violence. Law enforcement arrested Ibarra after gathering substantial evidence linking him to the crime scene. He bore scratches on his hands, likely from a struggle with Lakin Riley. Ibarra was charged with 1 count of malice murder, 3 counts of felony murder, and individual counts of kidnapping, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, hindering an emergency telephone call, tampering with evidence, and peeping Tom. On the same day as Lakin's murder, Ibarra was reportedly seen peering into the window of an apartment in a university housing building, which served as the basis for the peeping Tom charge. Lakin Riley's funeral was held on March 1st, 2024. Her untimely death brought sudden and unwanted fame, casting a spotlight on her life and its tragic end. While many who heard of her story knew too little about her life, those closest to her were understandably reluctant to speak publicly. In a written statement to the media, the church's lead pastor, Samar, expressed a profound loss. When the world loses someone like Lakin, whose light consistently shines so bright, it seems that much darker in their absence. Lakin was special. She was a gift to anyone who knew her. Smart, kind, compassionate, and thoughtful don't even begin to scratch the surface. She was a loving daughter, sister, and friend. She had a gift for making anyone she was around feel comfortable and seen. Near the site of her final run, in Athens, Georgia, a wooden sign by the shore of Lake Herrick was altered with black tape to read Lakin instead of Lake, a poignant tribute to her memory. The murder of Lakin Riley and the immigration status of Ibarra quickly became a rallying cry for political figures, especially Republicans, to criticize U.S. immigration policies. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp shared his outrage, stating, "Lakin Riley's tragic death struck the hearts of Georgians everywhere and has sparked national outrage. Joe Biden's failed policies have turned every state into a border state, and I'm demanding information from him, so we can protect our people when the federal government won't." House Speaker Mike Johnson also weighed in. The brutal murderer who took the life of Lakin was one of the millions of illegal aliens that the Biden administration simply released and unleashed upon our country. During a campaign appearance in Georgia, Donald Trump met with members of Lakin Riley's family. He lambasted the Biden administration's immigration policies, asserting, "What Joe Biden has done on our border is a crime against humanity and the people of this nation for which he will never be forgiven." Riley would be alive today if Joe Biden had not willfully and maliciously eviscerated the borders of the United States and set loose thousands and thousands of dangerous criminals into our country. In response, President Joe Biden addressed Lakin Riley's death, but made a critical error during his speech. To the applause of his supporters, Biden mistakenly referred to the victim as Lakin Riley, saying, "Lakin Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal." His repeated mention of the incorrect name drew criticism, with Riley's family expressing their frustration. "Biden does not even know my child's name." The tragic death of Lakin Riley continues to resonate across Georgia and the nation, symbolizing the human toll of broader political debates, while leaving her family and community grappling with an irreplaceable loss. On May 8, 2024, Jose Ibarra was indicted on 10 counts, including the brutal murder of 19-year-old nursing student Lakin Riley. Ibarra, originally from Venezuela and living in the U.S. without documentation, pleaded not guilty to all charges. His trial, initially set for November 13th, began with dramatic family impact statements and a shift to a bench trial after Ibarra waived his right to a jury. Lakin's mother, Allison Phillips, stood in court, her voice heavy with emotion. She implored Judge Patrick Haggard to deliver a harsh sentence. "There is no end to the pain, suffering, and loss we endure," she said. This sick, twisted, and evil coward showed no regard for Lakin or human life. Allison described her daughter as smart, hardworking, and compassionate, a child of God who cared deeply for others. "This monster took away our chance to see her graduate from nursing school, to meet our future son-in-law, to hold our grandchildren," she said, breaking into sobs. Lauren Phillips, Lakin's younger sister, shared how her sister's death had shattered her. She had recently been accepted to the University of Georgia, a milestone she had long dreamed of celebrating with Lakin. "I had to get into my dream school without my sister telling me how proud she was," Lauren said tearfully. She described Lakin as her best friend and role model, someone whose laughter and daily good morning messages she deeply missed. "I cannot walk around my college campus because I am terrified of people like Jose Ibarra," she added, calling him a monster. Lakin's stepfather, John Phillips, read aloud one of her final journal entries addressed to her future husband. "To my future husband, I'm working every day to become the best wife I can be." His voice cracked as he explained how this entry reflected all that had been stolen from the family. Prosecutor Sheila Ross opened the trial with a harrowing account of Lakin's final moments. She described how Ibarra had gone hunting for women that day and how Lakin, refusing to be a victim, fought valiantly for her life. Ross detailed how Ibarra brutally ended her struggle by repeatedly bashing her skull with a rock. She fought for her dignity and her life, Ross said, emphasizing the horrific nature of the crime. Defense attorney Dustin Kirby painted a different picture, calling the evidence circumstantial. He questioned how Ibarra's fingerprints could have been on Lakin's phone if he had been wearing gloves, as the prosecution alleged. The evidence in this case is very good that Lakin Riley was murdered, Kirby admitted. But the evidence that Jose Ibarra killed her is circumstantial. The trial's backdrop was politically charged, with President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump weighing in. Biden faced backlash after initially referring to Ibarra as illegal during a televised address, a term he later apologized for, clarifying he should have said undocumented. Trump, campaigning in Georgia, seized on the controversy, criticizing Biden's apology to this killer and accusing him of lacking empathy and a plan to address illegal immigration. Biden's apology did little to quell the outrage from Lakin's family and supporters. Allison Phillips posted on Facebook, "It's pathetic. If you were going to say her name, even when forced to do so, at least say the right name." She added an amen to a comment calling Biden a disgrace of a president. The case underscored deep societal divisions, with Lakin's family's grief and calls for justice at the heart of the courtroom drama. The trial finally commenced on November 15th, with both sides presenting their arguments in a case that had already captured national attention. For the Phillips family, however, the focus remained on the irreplaceable loss of a beloved daughter, sister, and friend, a bright light extinguished far too soon. On November 20th, 2024, a tragedy that shook the community reached its legal resolution as Judge Patrick Haggard convicted Jose Ibarra of the brutal murder of Lakin Riley. Ibarra, a citizen with no known connections to Riley and no violent criminal history, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He was also given a second life sentence and an additional 27 years to be served consecutively. Lakin Riley, a promising nursing student who had just made the fall dean's list and received her honorary white coat, was set to graduate in 2025. She had been full of compassion and ambition, ready to serve her community as a nurse. Her tragic death left her family, friends, and the college she attended in mourning. The College of Nursing expressed their sorrow, acknowledging that Lakin would have made a tremendous impact on the world of healthcare. The crime, described by investigators as a crime of opportunity, was committed by Ibarra, who had no prior connection to the victim. However, the evidence against him was irrefutable. Prosecutor Sheila Ross presented key details. Ibarra's DNA was found under Riley's fingernails, and his fingerprint was discovered on her phone. The injuries sustained by Lakin, which included scratches, bruises, and cuts across her head, neck, torso, and limbs, painted a grim picture of the violence she endured. Additionally, DNA evidence found on 2 rocks at the crime scene, as well as blood on a jacket found at Ibarra's apartment complex, further solidified his involvement. The medical examiner confirmed that Lakin's injuries were consistent with being struck in the head with a rock, and a jacket recovered from Ibarra's apartment contained a bloodstain matching Riley's DNA. District Attorney Deborah Gonzalez emphasized that while no sentence could undo the harm caused by Ibarra's actions, the pursuit of justice was paramount. She stated, "The integrity of our judicial process and the pursuit of justice transcended political considerations." In addition to the conviction, a new piece of legislation emerged from the tragedy. On March 7, 2024, the House of Representatives passed the Lakin Riley Act, a bill that would mandate federal detention for illegal immigrants committing burglary or theft and allow states to file suit against the federal government for failing to enforce immigration laws. Lakin's passing is a loss not only to her family and friends, but to the entire nursing profession and the communities she would have served with compassion and grace. The justice served today offers a small measure of closure, but the impact of her life and the void her death leaves behind will be felt for years to come.
This was today's true story. Our aim is for people to learn from such incidents and strive to improve society. Do let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.